Hello, great to see you back here for this week's instalment of Homesales, Your Next Move. I'm Bradley Beer, CEO of the BMT Group, and I'm really enjoying bringing you this show each week. If you're an investor or a buyer looking for expert tips in property, you'll find them here on this show. On tonight's episode, Tara Bradbury is updating us on the latest property news. Reid Swift, Principal of Spectrum Financial Solutions, will share his insights from his 15 years working in taxation, property, mortgage finance and cash flow management. And in our latest tips and tools for investors segment, our Homesales Buyer Toolkit looks at Kohab. For now, we'll cross to Tara Bradbury from the BDM Academy to bring us all the recent property news for the week.
In this episode, we learn about how the rental shortage drives vacancy rates lower, changing progression of house sizes, the demand of smaller capitals, and the effect of Brexit on the Australian homeowner. The insufficient number of rental properties has dragged the national residential vacancy rate lower this month. The decline was led by falling vacancy in many smaller cities, as well as in Melbourne. The national residential vacancy rate dropped by 2% over the period, making it its lowest since March 2014. This translated to a total of 67,000 vacant properties across the nation. The floor plan of average Aussie home is the smallest in 22 years. According to the ABS data, the average new home is now 186 square metres, falling 1.6% over the past 12 months. The data reflects the growing trends towards building of apartments Australia-wide, with the dwelling type including almost half of new residential builds. As we know, Australia thrives within locations where buyer activity is rising and there is strong potential for prices to rise as well. The latest edition of Price Prediction Index by Hotspotting has identified good quantities of growth markets within our smaller capital cities and within many solid regional markets that exist, especially on the eastern side of the nation. As the fallout from Brexit looms over the United Kingdom's property market, some property experts think Australia's property safe haven could attract new foreign investment. While Brexit uncertainty crushed confidence in the British property market, some property experts predict it could be big business for Australian homeowners. The possible restrictions of foreign ownership are making Australia's property look more appealing than ever, and the current upheaval may see overseas buyers flock to the Australian property market, especially given the share volatility. Well, that's it from me, Brad. Looking forward to seeing you all again next week.
Thanks for the update, Tara. And now for my favourite part of the show, the part where I get to interview. This week, my guest is Reid Swift, Principal of Spectrum Financial Solutions. He will share his insights from his 15 years working in taxation, property, mortgage finance and cash flow management. Thanks for joining me today, Reid.
No problem.
Reid, over 15 years experience dealing with a lot of first-time investors, often maybe not having their finance very ready.
Yep.
What are some of your best tips on how to be ready as a first-time investor?
Sure. Well, I think you've hit it on the head there. They're not ready because they don't think they're ready. So what I say to them is, look, just sit down, whether it's just yourself or your partner, just sit down and map out what you're trying to do. There's people who can help you get from A to B. It's just sit down and work out what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve, and then you can surround yourself with the people to help you to get where you want to be. So do a budget. I know that sounds very accountancy-ish, but you
Absolutely.
Can do it. I know, but there is, you don't have to put it in an Excel spreadsheet like I do. You can do it very easily by just setting up a few different bank accounts where you put some money into your everyday living account and you put money into a savings account. That's budgeting. So it can be as simple as that, and that's your first step. And then you surround yourself with some people, talk to some people you trust to get some professionals around you, and obviously talk to mum and dad as well. They might be able to help.
For the finance, the budget, and then before you come and actually sit with the advisor, what are some of the other things you need to have prepared?
Make sure you've got everything up to date with your payments, your credit cards, all those things, you've just been putting off. Just make sure they're under control. Got your tax returns done. I mean, the banks are looking at all those sort of things at the moment. But I suppose just like I said, just being prepared with, you've got a budget. Look, prove to yourself that you can do that for a few months. So that will prove to yourself, it'll prove to the people you're about to deal with, and it'll prove to the banks that you can actually do what you're trying to achieve here.
And the banks, we've been Royal Commissions, etc. They've got a lot tougher on the type of information required. So you would have seen a lot of people that may have got loans in the past struggle to get them now. Have you found the criteria tough, and what are your thoughts on that?
The criteria is certainly tougher from the point of view of you've now got to demonstrate that you can do it. Before it was you could just write down, they had some guidelines of what they think you should be spending, but now they're actually looking at what you're spending. So that's the key. It comes back to the budgeting again. You can prove through your bank statements, through what your actual spending habits are, that you can afford this loan. Okay, you earn a certain amount, you need a certain amount to live. Okay, what have you got left over? So they're still lending money to the people who can afford it.
A lot of first-time investors, or especially first, but multiple time as well, aren't really sure on the financial viability of investing into property. Mm-hmm. How can someone determine if property investment is for them?
From a numbers point of view, so it's about having that budget, having a look at what cash flow you've got left over. And I always, when I say cash flow left over, look, let's allow for the holidays. Let's allow for those, if you need a new car in a few years' time, this kid's education. Once allowing for those, do you have enough money left? How much money do you have left over, spare, to put towards something, to put towards some growth assets? Then when you're sitting down with the mortgage broker, he can show you what the repayments look like, and then we can do some what ifs, or they can do some what ifs with you to show you, okay, if rates go up, if your circumstances change. So it's a matter of just planning ahead, making sure you're allowing for the other things that could happen, and then if that fits in within your criteria and budget, you're good to go.
Who are the important people that you believe an investor should have around them in their team before they go and jump in and buy property?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always say, property is people. You've got a person renting your property. You need people to help you with a lot to get that property. So we would say a tax agent, because you need to understand the tax implications. That could have a significant difference when you're selling the property, for example, with timing that purchase, timing the sale. Whose name you put it in. The mortgage broker is crucial at the moment. So you need to present yourself in the best possible light to the banks. You do that yourself, you could well be harming your own ability to get that loan, and then which will then harm you to go to the next bank and try to get the loan from the next bank you try. So the mortgage brokers can help you present yourself in the best way. You need someone who understands property, understands the different types of property that they're, how those different types of property can affect that cash flow we're talking about, because there is different differentiations at the moment. As you know, the new properties versus old, there's different depreciations you can claim. So, and then obviously a property manager, and then a legal side of things, solicitors. So if you can get all those people working together for you, you're in good shape.
There's a few there in that team that you need to build, Reid. So you're playing a couple of those spaces. So important things that someone should look for in, firstly, an accountant and then a mortgage broker.
The key for me is, because what stops people investing is the unknown. So they're always worried about what will be the effect on me if this happens in my life. So it's about having someone who's going to work with you in the future as well as now. So obviously there's key to setting it up right at the moment when you first get into it, but it's also to help someone who's going to be there to help you, who understands you, understands the property you're in, who can help you with those when those things happen in your life. So it can be proactive about it, because that's the key to it, because a mortgage broker should be able to help you when those circumstances change. Okay, you're getting your own home now. Perhaps we should switch that investment property loan to an interest-only loan, for example. Or perhaps you've got a bonus. Do we prepay interest on that loan? Do we switch loans to reset it to 30 years? And all these sort of things are going to come up. So it's about having the professionals give you right advice at the right time for those. So again, being proactive, and it's the same with the tax agent as well. They can just do your tax returns, or they can be proactive during the year to help you get the tax refund you deserve.
Interesting point on that. I think often we think of a tax return, or in this country we tend to think of a tax return after the 30th of June.
100%. I get that all the time.
And look, the proactivity and making sure that your tax planning in life is something that I think maybe we should take a bit more advantage of sometimes.
100%. I've got clients coming to me all the time saying, oh, this happened. And I said, well, I can't turn back time now. I can't change that ownership. I can't change the exchange date, which then affects which tax year it falls within. So, yeah, it's crucial you work with these people.
Correct, the advice first. Property markets, we've seen them slowing a little bit of late, and we've got things like the banks, as we were talking about earlier, making it a little harder to borrow money than it was 18 months ago, 2 years ago. What are some of the strategy, I guess, that you're employing with your clients to help property investors to, I guess, get on that ladder and get through and invest into property to make some money?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, people can borrow money. The people who can afford to borrow, the banks will still let them borrow money. So, and with the property cycle as it is at the moment, it's a buyer's market. So there is opportunities out there for people to get into the market and get into the market at a good price. And I think particularly where you can get into a market that the owner-occupied's wanting to be in as well, because that's going to give you resilience in that market long term. So I definitely think there's opportunities. And again, particularly at the moment, we're at historical low interest rates. So it's a good opportunity to A, get into the market, but also get ahead in those repayments as well, which is going to give you a buffer and it's going to help you pay off that property even faster.
Low interest rates, buy when everybody else isn't. That's when the best bargains around with everything, isn't it? That's right. Less people buying. Look, wealth of experience. Thank you for your time today, Reid. It's been great having a chat.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
When you're looking to buy a property, there's a lot to consider. PropCalc, the new tool from homesales.com.au, can help. This one-of-a-kind research tool allows you to input purchase costs as well as ongoing expenses, so you can accurately calculate how much it will cost to own your property. Plus, you can upload photos and notes about multiple properties and compare property results to make an informed purchase decision. All this information moves seamlessly from your desktop to the app, so you have all the information you need on the go. Use homesales.com.au and our one-of-a-kind tool PropCalc to access the most comprehensive property data on the market. Homesales.com.au, your next move.
If you want to join thousands of property investors Australia-wide and become an educated, successful property investor, then it's time to find out what my experienced team at Destiny can offer you. We've all been investing for many, many years, and our collective experience is second to none. Best of all, we don't sell property, and so our advice is truly independent.
To find out more, go to destiny.com.au and click on What We Offer, or call us on 1300 My Destiny.
Destiny, the most trusted property advisors that you can find.
Thanks for joining me, Reid. And now off to our Property Buyer Toolkit segment. A new service which has launched allows users to buy and sell property as well as to consult with agents and advisors. It's available as an online platform and app. Kohab's new Dream Boards feature allows users to group online property listings from multiple property websites, put it into one place and discuss them with friends, family, agents, all in real time. The Dream Board feature intends to combine property listing searching and discussions relevant to the properties into one place rather than fragmented across processes including websites, texting, social media and other platforms. The updated platform will allow real estate agents, buyers agents and influencers to create public boards, property listings online to highlight specific properties. David Dawson, founder and CEO of Kohab, said the social networking feature came about after identifying the common pain points of buying property: stress, fatigue, and communication frustration. And that's the show for today. Be sure to tune in next week for more property tips and tricks. This episode will be on demand all week. For access to the latest tools for property investors, or to check out our website, go to homesales.com.au or follow us on social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. Have a great week and I'll be right back here again next week.
Thank you.